Okay, so guys, we are recording now. So welcome first of all to this demo on SRE course. So we are coming up with this course called Site Reliability Engineer. This is gonna be the fourth batch, right? So we started around 6 months. So one lighter version of this course was already there from last 2 years. That is called Cloud P course. We call it Cloud Performance Engineering and DevOps. So we have upgraded that particular course, and we have added a bunch of other things on top of that course. And this is what this is course that we are offering. So coming to this particular the course agenda, whatever the course syllabus that we have. So as part of SRE, so first of all, who's to take up this course? Okay, so coming to that part. So the best people to take up this course is basically from the performance background. Okay, because I come from a development and a performance background. So okay, guys. So first of all, before I get started, let me introduce myself. So my name is Roshan. And I have around 16 years of experience in IT. Started my career as a Java developer, and since then I moved into performance engineering. I have been into performance engineering, mostly Java performance engineering and Oracle performance tuning from for about 6 years of my career. So first 2 years into Java development, then 6 years into performance engineering, and I slowly moved into DevOps part. And then I explored the possibility of SRE, and that's what I'm currently working as a principal SRE with one of the reputed retail giants. Work with various, I would say, on the programming language skill sets. I have Java and Python. I have been doing coding in Java and Python using various automation tools like Jenkins, uh, Terraform, Ansible, to automate things up like Selenium. I've been using these tools to automate stuff. Self-scripting, the one of the things which we automate things in Linux command line, right? Apart from that, if I talk about the observability part, so I have been working into multiple performance monitoring tools, starting from Dynatrace, or like all the open source technology, like we have JDK on some GRE, JDK based tools that we have, JFR, Java Mission Control, we have Dynatrace, right? And currently, from last 6 years, I have been working into mostly open sources technology like Prometheus, Grafana, and ELK stack, right? And doing all sorts of alerting in production. So I have been working in production from last 6 years. So that's the brief about me, and that's the course here. So I'm going to outline. So the agenda for today's discussion is to go over this course, make you aware of this course, what this course offers for you, and how it will help you in your next career, right? Move. And if you have any questions on this, you can ask me on that, right? So let me get started with what all we are covering as part of this course. Okay. So as part of SRE, we have covering this into multiple phases. Okay. So SRE is basically this SRE word, right, has originated from Google, and what they call basically a professional where you need some sort of automation experience, operations experience. So consider, see, the entire industry, right? The IT industry is mostly divided into two groups. Either you are a developer or you are into operations, right? So that's what we call it DevOps. Entire IT can be divided into two groups: DevOps, development, or operations. If you are not a developer, you are into operations. So if you are a QA engineer, a functional tester, automation tester, or performance tester, or deployment engineer, or support engineer, you are into operations side. If you're not into development, you are into automation. So where SRE helps in the operations part, mostly operations part, where, because the idea, see, at the end, what we want our customer to be highly satisfied with the user experience that they have. How can they be satisfied? If we give them high availability, if our application is highly available, if we don't have downtime or minimal downtime, few minutes in many years, that is the minimal downtime I'm talking about. 11 nines I'm talking about, right? By giving them high availability, by giving them reliability, by giving them fault tolerant architectures, that's how we, by giving all these things, right, on the performance part, on the security part, right, performance up to the SLA, on the security part. So customer is what they're looking for, all these things. So HA, reliability, fault tolerance, performance, security. So when you consider everything, the job description which fits well in all these categories is the SRE, right? Or performance engineering, you can call it. So SRE is just an extended form of performance engineering. So if you are, let's say, you are into start of your career, let's say that you started your career as a performance tester, because most of the folks who join these kind of webinar or demonstrations are the background of performance engineers or testers. Guys, please confirm. I just like to take a poll here. I hope most of you are from performance background. Yes, please use the chat option to give me yes, no. I would like to just take your opinion on that. I'm gonna just wait for a minute. Yes, I'm seeing a lot of yeses, right? Yes. Harko, Aditya, Harko, Paik, Naga, Sutanu, Yuvraj, Subha. So as I have been experiencing, right? So the people, those who join this particular demo, are from the performance testing background. So the point is, when you start your career, you're good to get started with performance testing tools, right? You can start with mostly. I will talk about the 90% of the professionals follow this path, right? Not everyone goes into development or automation part. Mostly 90% of the folks follow this, have this part. They start with performance testing tools like Jmeter or LoadRunner. Okay. And they work for about 2 to 3 years in this. And when they start searching for the job, they have been asked for the performance engineering skill sets, Java performance engineering skill sets. They would ask to troubleshoot Java applications. What if this happens? What if that happens? All sorts of issues. How to troubleshoot Java applications, heap dump, thread dump, GC log analysis, database tuning, all those things they need to. So this kind of skill sets, you can survive in IT industry till 7-8 years. After that, you need to upgrade yourself. Definitely. And as per the today's trend, right? Even if you are 5+ years of experience professional, you are expected, and I hope please agree or disagree with me. You are expected to know cloud. You are expected to do microservices. You are expected to know containers. You are expected to know Kubernetes. You are expected to know DevOps. Apart from your skill sets that you have, performance testing or engineering. Yes or no, guys? Do you agree with me that now when you go for the interview, people are asking these kind of questions, and there's a reason for it. Please, guys, I would like your opinion on this. Yes, no, and how you feel about it, right? So Yuvraj saying yes, Yuvraj agrees with that, right? So that's what, and there's a reason for it, right? Yuvraj, Aditya, there's a reason for it, because if you look at the complete infrastructure that we have right now, yesterday I said I have one of the slides. Let me show you one of those slides which I have, which I usually show to my participants. I'm going to show one of the slides that I have. Let me just 1 second. There's a reason for it. I'll show you what is the reason, right? So by the way, this is the entire course PPT documents that I share with all my participants who enroll. Let me. I'll tell you why you have been asked this question, because the current trend, right, the current industry which you are in right now, the current phase of the industry, IT, I would say IT industry, the development and the deployment phase, you belong to, okay, you belong to this phase. Okay, just hold on. You belong to this phase, where if you look at the current trend, how the software development and deployment has evolved over the years, we belong to this phase right now. It is about the software industry, guys. We are talking about, not talking about performance engineering here or SRE. We are talking about in general how the software development and deployment has evolved over the years. We are in this phase right now. We started with waterfall, but right now we're talking about DevOps. It's all about the automation. It's all about the automation we're talking about. DevOps is all about SDLC automation. Back in early days, we started with monolithic application. Now it's all about microservice architecture because we understand the importance and the reliability it brings onto the table when it brings to microservices as compared to monolithic applications. Earlier, we used to deploy your application on the physical servers. We used to waste a lot of resources. Then there come virtualization. We created VMs. We are in the phase of containerization now. We have container engines like Docker. We use Docker to create containers. That's how we efficiently utilize the resources. Earlier, if you have a business idea, if you want to run some application, deploy your application, you have to set up your own data center. It was a very costly affair. But nowadays, getting servers, getting storage services is so easy now because of the public cloud offering that we have from last couple of years, 3 to 4 years, I would say 5 to 6 years. AWS was launched in 2007, but became popular around 2012-13, right? I have seen that journey of the cloud. So we are in this phase. As an IT industry, we are in this phase. So you are expected to know this because they are working in these technologies. DevOps, microservices, containers, cloud. Irrespective of the field you are a QA engineer, automation engineer, or a performance engineer or support person, you're supposed to know this. That's why they need to understand whether you understand these things or not. Because once you join the company, will you be able to work or excel or not, right? So that's why they check on these things. And now when this comes, containers comes, again, the next thing would be Kubernetes. They talk about Kubernetes because in 60 to 70% of the companies, Kubernetes is being deployed. Containers is being used in now 80% of the company. In 80% of the company, 70% of the company is using Kubernetes because Kubernetes offers a lot of features for the reliability of the application in production. It offers a lot of things. So Kubernetes comes into picture, right? Then obviously, if it comes to Kubernetes for the performance engineering part, we need to make it stable because we have issues in production. We don't want issues to be in production. So who is coming? We've been asked to look into those things. Performance engineer, right? So our role is being extended. If you are an 8+ guy, you would be expected to know much more what you have been doing 2 years back. Let's say 5+ experience guys. Why they should hire you? Being 8+ or 7+, 6+ years of experience, why they should hire you when they can get a performance engineer with 5+ experience, all the same skill set. So you need to be up to the market, and that's why this particular course. And we have aligned this course as per the current market trend that we have. If you look at the syllabus, which I will share in a while, you will understand how I have planned this because I understand the pain point because I have been in that journey, right? Since as a Java developer into performance engineering, learning performance testing tool, then moving into DevOps when it emerged, being involved into automation and how performance engineering fits in DevOps. So I have been in that journey, so I can guide you better, right? So I'll talk about this course. So any question in this slide? If anyone has any question, feel free before I move on to course syllabus. Okay, silence means we are good. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to directly talk about the course offers that we are. Let me give you the link, but I would share that link at the later. I want you to focus on this. Okay, so guys, the first thing is the cloud part. As I talked about four things I talked, right? We talked about cloud, we talked about microservices, we talked about containers, and containers followed with Kubernetes, and we talked about DevOps. So our core is based on this, apart from performance engineering, what is expected from a performance engineer. This course is designed considering all those things, right? You will understand in a while now. Okay. So let me talk about the course syllabus. So coming to the cloud, we are covering AWS. It's a live sessions that I'll be doing with you on the AWS. The USP of this course, because I understand the transition that most of you are going, when I talk about any particular topic, I assume that my audience is not aware of these things. Totally new. That's what I assume, and I take up things. I can teach even a 12th standard guy. So that's how I take up things, because I make it so simple. That's how I see things, because I don't assume you have any prior knowledge of performance engineering, anything, because these things are new. That's how I take up. And it's about knowing things. If you know, it becomes simple. If you don't know, it becomes hard. That's how I take up any learning. Okay. So we'll talk about the cloud. We have a lot of topics to be covered. I don't want to go in detail, but we have a lot of things. The way I take up things is that after completing this, after a few guidance, you can clear SAAC03 exam. That's how I take up this. View few guidance. I'm not telling it is a full-fledged solution architect course, but with few guidance which I provide to all my learners, you can clear this. After this course completes, after 2 months, once you follow a dedicated 2 hours of daily, you can clear this. That's how but in this course, I am covering 50% to 60% of this syllabus. What is being required in the solution architect. That's how I take up things, right? And with small guidance, small your effort, you can clear the certification. That's how I take up things. Okay, that's about the first topic, cloud. Second topic, since it's about the SRE course, we need to understand what is SRE, what do we mean by reliability? Is reliability, high availability, fault tolerant mean the same thing for you? Currently, for most of you, you may say it's same thing, but it is not. When I say reliability, I mean something else. When I say fault tolerance, it has a different meaning. When I say high availability, it has a different meaning. When I say disaster recovery, it has a different meaning. All these four terminologies which I have just highlighted here has different meaning. We need to get understand of that, right? So when someone talks reliability, fault tolerant, HA, DR, you should be in a particular frame of mind to understand things, right? So that's how we'll start with. We'll talk about how SRE and DevOps are related. What's the thin line between the DevOps and SRE? What's the extra thing you're supposed to perform being an SRE engineer in DevOps? DevOps is a culture, right? And we need to understand what is the SRE roles and responsibility. So the way I take up is, if you understand a bit of coding, so consider SRE as the class and DevOps as the interface. So this is how class SRE implements DevOps. Okay, we'll talk about it. Okay, not to worry. We'll talk about what is SLIs, service level indicators, SLO, service level objective. What is SLA, service level, SLA, service level, we have, and error budget. Right? What does this term means? SLIs, SLOs, SLAs, error budget. What do we mean? What should be the resistance? What should be our standards every release to release? We need to understand that. Because this would be the very typical question. If I have to understand whether you understand the reliability architecture or those things, I can ask you this basic question and I can make out whether you understand these things or not. So we'll talk about this particular terminology, the concept part. We'll understand what is incident management. Because in production, it's all about things happening in production. Don't think what's in performance environment. Performance environment is very safe. You don't worry about things which run. Performance environment is a control environment. Production, it's not a control, because a lot of traffic goes into. You see a lot of issues. How much ever you test in performance environment, you are most likely to encounter a different issue in prod. That's what I think some of you who would be working in prod environment may agree with me. That's what happens. You test something, you think you have covered, you have the best performance test coverage, but in production you get a different issue. this happens. So we need to understand when an incident happens, how to remediate it. And we will understand Kubernetes helps immensely in these kind of things, because Kubernetes implementation gives you time. We have something called their fault tolerance. We have something called replica set. We'll talk about it, okay? So we'll talk about incident management. What is change management? What is roles and responsibility of SRE? SRE has a different roles and responsibility. Even an L1 engineer who is doing the support work 24/7 monitoring can call himself or herself SRE. But we are talking about L2 engineer here, not L1, where things would be more difficult, more challenging. Performance engineering would come into picture, monitoring would come into picture, architecture would come into picture. We are taking up L2 work mostly in this course, right? L1, L2, L3 are mostly the developers, those who designed the product, written the code. We're talking about L2 engineers here, L2 support guys. We'll talk about considering those things, right? So we'll talk about this SRE, right? What do we understand of this? After moving on, we'll talk about architectures. What is monolithic microservices? We'll talk about that. We need to understand these things in better understanding. What do we understand of these things? We need to have a better understanding. After that, where do we deploy the microservices? We'll understand the best place to deploy the microservices is on the containers. But how to create containers? Through container engine like Docker. We'll talk about that. Complete thing we'll talk about Docker. Introduction to Docker, how common operations, Docker volumes, and we have so many things. Docker Compose, Docker. We have a lot of things in Docker. Okay? We're covering a lot of things in Docker here. And then after Docker, it's all about Kubernetes, because Kubernetes is going to be the platform. It's going to be the standard. Trust me, when I started 2 years, people were slowly realizing, yes, okay, you have come up with this course. Okay, yes, it's an important course. Some of you will agree, but now I see most of you are agreeing, because I understand this, how the trend is going. Going future in coming years, 2 to 3 years, 4 years, Kubernetes is going to be the default architecture. In every implementation, take my words, note my words. Still it is. But in going future, 3 to 4 years down the line, you will not find any architecture without Kubernetes implementation. Kubernetes is going to be the standard, it's going to be the platform where things will be deployed going forward. It is, because I work in a company where I have been seeing these things. They cannot live without Kubernetes. We cannot think anything beyond Kubernetes. We need Kubernetes. That's how we can give more reliability in production. That's how we can assure the customers high availability, reliability, fault tolerance. We can give the assurance to the customers that yes, you're going to be safe in production, don't worry, because we have Kubernetes, right? So Kubernetes is going to be the platform. So we'll talk about Kubernetes in detail, right? What is Kubernetes, architectures. We are going to take up 2 Kubernetes implementation here, EKS and GKE. We can do AKS as well. So these are the cloud service provider. Kubernetes is this much popular. I'll tell you, all the cloud service provider, Kubernetes is an open source. It's an orchestration engine. Kubernetes is an open source, but all the cloud service providers have come up with the service, managed service. AWS has managed service called EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. Azure has AKS, Azure Kubernetes Service. GCP has GKE, Google Kubernetes Engine. They have managed service. This is this much popular. Every cloud service provider, OCI, Oracle, has OKE, Oracle Kubernetes Engine. Every cloud service provider has a managed service. Everything is, you can install Kubernetes manually using KubeADM base, but if you're using KubeADM, you can install Kubernetes. But if you use any one of these managed service, it's going to be very easy. The deployment, the cluster is very easy. Getting the cluster using managed services is very easy. And then it's all about deploying your application, pods, services, stateful set, deployment. services, we have a lot of objects. We'll talk about it. How do we, in Kubernetes, we have something called replica set. It gives high fault tolerance, replica set. We have deployment as the object. It makes sure if you're upgrading to a new image version, you will not have a downtime. Zero downtime during upgrade. We have auto scaling, horizontal pod auto scaling, cluster auto scaler. We have all these things in Kubernetes. And that's what makes Kubernetes the best way, the best orchestration engine. It's going to be the default platform going forward. It is with most of the companies, but slowly the companies are started to understand the importance. By the way, Kubernetes from Google. 2015, Google invented Kubernetes. Now answer my one question. Who handles load better than Google? Do you know of any company who handles load, traffic, volume of traffic better than Google? Anyone? Are you aware of any other company? That's the fact. Kubernetes is popular. It is from Google. They have donated to CNCF. Google has donated Kubernetes to CNCF now. Cloud Native Computing Foundation. They manage all the open source technologies. Prometheus, Grafana, ELK, EFK, everything. Right? So that will be about the Kubernetes part. We'll talk about gaining resilience and reliability on AWS. How auto scaling works, right? What is managed service, database services. We'll talk about a lot of things. Load balancing, auto scaling group, EKS, how resiliency and reliability on AWS works. We'll talk about observability, very important. If you don't monitor things in production, you would not know what's going wrong, what's happening. Something bad or good, what's happening, you would not know. You don't have the insights when you don't monitor. We all know. From the performance background, we all know the importance of observability, monitoring. We're going to talk about Prometheus, CloudWatch, ELK, and Linux monitoring. We are talking about 4 of this in this particular course. Linux monitoring, which all commands we use. CloudWatch, it is from AWS. We use Prometheus and Grafana, open source. I'm a fan of open source, okay? Open source. Very powerful, ELK, Prometheus, very popular, very powerful. You will not find any resume without this, Prometheus and Grafana and ELK. You will not come across any resume. Dynatrace, AppDynamics, Datadog, you may find or may not find, but you will find this. See, either you use commercial tools or open source, the monitoring part, what you need to monitor, you need to know. Obviously, right? After that, these are the open source that we're going to cover as part of this course. Right? We are going to give you recorded sessions because this is going to be very 50 hours of sessions, 50 hours. So if you are joining, guys, if you're planning to join, make sure you devote 2 months daily on daily basis on weekdays, 1 hour or daily basis, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. right? Devote this 1 hour and learn on daily basis. And since we cannot cover everything on live, we are going to provide recorded sessions on the performance engineering. It's going to be my recorded sessions. I have recorded it and I'm going to provide it. Java performance engineering, 8 hours of recorded session. I'll talk about JVM architectures, GC log analysis, heap dump, thread dump, troubleshooting, right? What all issues that we get, shallow heap, retained heap, all thread states, all of this. We're going to talk about it in these recorded sessions. Very important for a SRE is to automation. Performance engineers, testers may not understand that well, but we all automate, right? Everyone has to automate. Either you using Linux self-scripting or you do. SREs need to automate things more. On the infrastructure, we'll talk about Terraform. How do we use Terraform to automate infrastructure? How do you use Ansible to configure softwares in 100 servers? When you have 200 servers in production, do you think that someone would be doing those things manually. Is it possible to configure, to provision 200 servers, VPCs? So many things are there in the architecture: load balancer, auto scaling group, security group, NACL, so many subnets, NAT gateway, S3, databases. So many things are there. So many softwares needs to be installed. Do you think that we do things manually in production? No, we don't do things manually in production. We use Terraform and Ansible and shell scripting. We talk about Jenkins, CI/CD pipeline. That's what we talk about, automation. Jenkins, CI/CD pipeline. And we use Kubernetes as the deployment. That's what we do in production. So we'll talk about this. Eliminating toil and automation is one of the very important roles and responsibility of an SRE engineer. How to eliminate toil. We'll talk about that. So after that, we are going to give 3 hours of recorded session on shell scripting. That's very important. I have seen people, those who are not comfortable with Linux, but it's very much required skill set. One of the first skill set that you want to learn is the shell scripting, is the Linux, how to navigate. I want you to be comfortable with Linux as you are with Windows. If I ask you in Windows, open a file, search for a text, you do that immediately. Double click a file, Control F, text, enter. If I ask you to do the same thing in Linux, most of you would struggle. Some of you can answer, but most of you would struggle. Similarly, if I ask you some other steps, if you have a log, if you have finding an error text, I want you to grab the 10 lines above the error message and 10 lines below. Do you have a handy command for that? So those things are very important. Can you create a cron job? Let's see, if I want to ask you to run a job every weekend, 7 a.m. Every Saturday, 7 a.m., I want you to take a backup. Will you get up 7 a.m. in the morning and do it? No. We're going to write a cron job and do it. So Linux is very important skill set. You cannot proceed, you cannot go ahead in your career without Linux. Right? We're going to give you a 3 hours of recorded sessions, my 3 hours of recorded sessions. As a Java performance engineer or as an SRE, we understand the importance of Java. We're going to give you the core Java recorded sessions. We want you to be comfortable with Java. When you troubleshoot any application, when you take a heap dump, thread dump, when you analyze, if you find an issue with the method, we want you to be comfortable. It's very important for you to be comfortable with the code. Look into the method, how it is being done. You may not understand the logic completely because you have not written the code, but you should be in a position to understand, okay, this is array list, this is linked list. But this is this collection you're using. Why you're using this string here? So many objects are getting created. So we want you to understand, it's very important for you to understand this Java part. So we are going to give you this recorded session on Java. Python is very important. Nowadays, if I talk about the automation for SRE engineer, the first thing is being asked is the Python. In the interview, if you are appearing as the SRE professional, the language does not matter. But the simplicity of the language makes Python what it is. It's important. The simplicity of the language. The Java, if you are writing a code in Java, you may have a lot of syntaxes you need to take care. Python, it's straightforward, very simple. We're going to talk about it. We have a dedicated session to talk about coding. These are the recorded sessions which I'll be sharing 30 plus hours of recorded on Python. But apart from all this, what needs to be automated, I'll talk separately. We have a separate dedicated section. Here, we'll talk about this, how to automate mundane tasks using shell scripting and Python scripting. We'll talk about that separately. So we'll be covering these things, giving these things as the recorded sessions. Last but not the least is the Jenkins, right? Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. Okay, I think it's not as part of, okay, no, it should be there. So some mismatch, so Jenkins should be here. Okay, here it is. CI/CD pipeline using Jenkins. We'll talk about Jenkins. Very important. So how do you automate things using Jenkins? Very important, right? Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. CI/CD, continuous integration deployment using Terraform, Ansible. How do you automate things? This is all about the automation. Don't think as a performance engineer you will be harmed, or a SRE engineer. SRE engineers are expected to know this, right? So we'll talk about shell scripting. So we can talk about a lot of things. Shell scripting, Python scripting here as part of automation. So this is about the course syllabus, guys, that I have come up with. It's a complete course in itself. I assume it was one of the best courses in India. Okay, I have never come across, because I have customized this course based on the going on. Yeah. So that's about the course syllabus. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Now it's your time to ask me questions. If you need more clarification on anything, I'm all here. Go ahead, guys.
So hi Roshan, it's Aditya. So I would like to know like which prerequisite we will require, like what like prerequisite for to do the hands-on.
So as I told you, right, the USP of this course, the USP of this course is nothing. I don't basics of IT. If I talk about port IP, you should be able to understand, right? You really don't need to have any prerequisites. Yes, when I talk about performance, yes, I do expect you to understand performance, right? Whenever I talk about the performance, and I do expect that you have a basic performance mindset. When I say about performance, I want you to be feel excited about it, right? So that's what the prerequisite. But apart from performance, nothing. We are all going to take care. I hope it answered the question.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to give you this link, guys. Let me give you the link, guys. Please go over this link. You're supposed to contact Mr. Kumar Gupta for enrollment, right? So we'll be starting the course from tomorrow, right? 9 p.m. to 10:15 p.m. And if we have time, we can also meet on the weekend if we have time. But mostly it's going to be a weekdays, Monday to Thursday, same time, this time which we are meeting, 9 p.m. to 10:15 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. Any question?
Saturday, Sunday will be off, right?
Yeah, it will be off mostly. But if we have time, if everyone agrees, we can meet. If you want to someone has some doubts or someone wants more details, we can meet. Yeah, those things. But mostly it's going to be a week session.
Roshan Yuvraj here.
Yeah. Good.
So yeah, we got all these topics. Out of curiosity, I just want to ask: is it possible to cover all these topics in a span of 2 months?
Exactly. That is what the exciting part. I'm going to show you what you're going to get. Okay. This is the live recording that will be shared on daily basis.
Okay.
This is the last batch which we have concluded recently. From August it started and it went to we are in the November right now. Last week we have completed this, and look at this, all the topics from the cloud part, HADR, AWS, IAM, MFA, VPC, Linux, instance family. Look at this, all the topics. You can see this. It will be all covered. Docker, images, containers. So look at this, all this. So 37 hours of recorded sessions. So that's why. So 40 hours, consider 40 hours of you meeting, 40 live sessions. Apart from 40 hours of live sessions, 40 to 45 hours, we are extending also for a few days, 1 hour, 14 minutes. So 40 hours, consider 40 hours of live sessions. You'll be giving this as a recorded session. Okay. This is exactly the way we are recording right now. On daily basis, we'll be recording and we'll be talking about all of those things. Apart from that, we are going to share Java performance engineering course. So that we are not covering, right? This is going to be as the recorded session. That we are not covering. But if you have any questions, you can ask during the session, right? So 8 to 9 hours of Java performance engineering. Apart from that, we are going to cover Java programming, as I mentioned. So these things we are not covering live. Understand this. So 40 hours is what we are covering. And Java performance engineering, Java coding, right? Java programming, Python programming is what, and self-scripting. It is what given as the recorded sessions. And we are covering 40 hours of, so we have balanced in such a way that we are covering everything with the least possible time.
Okay, so one last question, Roshan.
Go ahead.
So by the end of this course, will we be project ready as a site reliability engineer?
Yes, absolutely. You will be project ready. That is what the intention is. See, you are already, as per my understanding, you are already performance engineer. Yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's correct, right? So I'm gonna I'm gonna give you a lot of information on the architectural front, on the reliability front, and you're gonna be taking up. You need to work hard on your own, right? Obviously, right?
Okay.
Guiding people that we'll talk about. Once you work hard, you will be project ready. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
When you learn Jmeter, right? You don't learn everything. When you work, you learn more. Correct? That's how with everything, right? Yeah. So same thing would go here. You will have the basic idea. You can apply your mind and you can learn and grow. That's how it will be. Same learning journey will be.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Roshan,
Go ahead.
since I am working on monolithic architecture, so when we are covering to the microservices, so do we go to the to identify the bottlenecks? What will be the bottlenecks for the microservices, and like, are we going to discuss that part also?
Once you understand the microservices, since you're already working on monolithic application, once you understand what is microservices, you will understand how to go about troubleshooting. You will yourself understand. So first of all, the reason you're asking this question because you are not sure what is microservices. Once you understand what is microservices, you would know how to go about troubleshooting. I'll talk about that. We are covering.
Yeah, hi Roshan.
Question we are covering.
Yeah, hi Roshan.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm audible, right?
Yeah, Venkat, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, in that syllabus, we are covering any log analysis tools like Splunk.
See, as I mentioned, ELK we are covering. ELK.
Okay.
See, we cannot cover many tools, right? We can cover 2 tools.
Yes.
We are covering 4 as part of monitoring part. We are covering 4 things. We are talking about ELK.
Okay. Okay. So because previously I worked with many projects and many companies. So as for me, so these two, whatever the ELK is a new tool for me. But all the organizations which I have worked, so those are having the Splunk they have. So they are integrated with Splunk. So it would be better. I mean, my feeling is like that if we added the instead of CloudWatch or some other things.
CloudWatch is from AWS. CloudWatch is from AWS.
Yes, yes.
Right. So it's not, you cannot add. See, if you add Splunk, you're adding basically 10 hours.
Okay. So at least writing a query, basic query, like, yeah.
It will be difficult to accommodate with this course. I hope everyone understands the width of the syllabus that this course offers. If you add, see, I can keep on adding tools. Someone can mention add Dynatrace, please. Someone can mention AppDynamics, please. Right? Someone can mention add Datadog, please. There are so many things. There are so many things. Right?
Yeah.
So you have to.
Yes,
so,
yes, I understood. But yeah, but here coming to the APM tools is a separate story. So coming to the Splunk is a different story, right? So currently I'm working as I'm not a SRE, but so we are working in a SRE role team. So the Splunk we are using for the production log analysis directly, not for the performance testing.
I think that's why you are asking this question, Venkat, because you have not worked on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is also a log analysis.
Yes, yes.
Right. So Kibana is also a log analysis tool. Okay, you can ask me this question: why these two things? I have an answer. I went over 500
Okay.
500 resumes. In 450 resumes,
Okay.
I found these two tools. That's a fact.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Okay. Okay. Actually, my expectation is here like to learn Splunk as well. So that's where I was.
You can take a call. This is what we are covering here, Venkat. I cannot promise you that I'm at Splunk.
Okay, because you are sharing some recorded sessions, right, for the other for the Java engineering, and also for in that way we have any recordings to going to be provided in this course for Splunk.
No, not now. I have been working mostly Dynatrace, AppDynamics on the commercial tools, and I have been working with Prometheus and ELK stack as of now mostly. Splunk, when people use it, okay, I'm not saying people doesn't use it. People use it, but it is mostly like a data analysis on the data scientist. People use that Splunk that level. But if you look for the SRE point of view, ELK does the work, because when you look at all the logs, when you write the query, ELK does the work in the open source. So as of now, we don't have a recorded session for Splunk.
Okay, but if our organization is not using ELK, so that's where I just. Okay, fine.
I'll take your feedback. I may come up with a recorded session on the Splunk, but right now it is not there.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, guys, any other question? We have 10 minutes left. Any question which you want to ask, any problem that you are going over in the current organization, any help, any question, make sure you use this time efficiently. You can ask me any question.
Hey, hi Roshan, Gautam here.
Hi, Gautam.
Yeah, is it mandatory to cover all those recording sessions also, like by end of what is that, 50th day or 40th day?
I could not understand. It is mandatory. What is mandatory? Gautam?
Is it mandatory to cover all the recording sessions as well, apart from the sessions whatever you are gonna teach us live?
So I'm gonna share these live, right? And I'll be sharing recordings. So I could not understand your question.
Sorry, no. Can you hear me clearly?
I can absolutely hear you loud and clear, Gautam.
Yeah. Actually, you are saying you are sharing some recording sessions, right, for Java performance testing and all.
That's right.
Apart from the live sessions.
Correct. Yes.
So is it mandatory to cover all those recording sessions for Java testing? Java testing, performance testing and all, along with your live sessions?
Is it mandatory? We are offering this as part of the course because we understand it is important from SRE, right? From SRE point of view.
Okay.
That's why we are sharing these things, right?
Okay.
If you don't want, we will not share.
Okay, sure.
Right. So we are
actually, Gautam, he is a bit confused that with whatever the recordings you have provided, like for Java performance engineering, will it impact for the course, means what we are studying as a SRE? So if he will not during the session.
No. These things are completely different. The live sessions that I'm going to cover is totally different than these recordings. It's not gonna be overlapping.
Yes, that's it.
Right. It's not going to be overlapping. I am not going to overlap things. If you have some doubts, I may cover 10 minutes, but I'm not going to go full fledged with all those recordings which I'll be sharing. These are the live.
Yeah, I understood that question. My question is see, for initially I'll be just covering all your 40 hours of live session, okay, and I'll be just preparing for those sessions.
Correct.
And I will not be touching this Java performance testing or whatever it is, whatever the recording sessions are. I will not be touching it initially.
Sure.
Okay. So if I cover those 40 live sessions, whatever you are teaching us,
Right.
then I'll be ready for the site reliability engineering job.
Right. Yes. If you are already an experienced professional with Java PE, if you know a bit of coding, Python and Java, if you already know these things, you are already, then it's already been taken care. Why? Understand this. Why I'm sharing this? For you, if you're not ready with Java PE knowledge, if you're not sure about Java programming, or if you're not sure about Python programming, these videos will help you, right, to get to that level, right? That is why we are sharing this. It's not a mandatory, it will not be a prerequisite to answer your question. It will not be a prerequisite to cover these 40 live sessions. You can take these recordings at your own pace.
Okay. Even I'll be ready for doing job, right, as a site reliability engineer, even though if I'm not covering those recording sessions.
Okay, Gautam, answer me one question. If in the interview you will be asked a programming question.
That's what I'm asking. Is it mandatory to learn all those recording sessions as well along parallelly with your live sessions?
Yes, that's what we are offering, right? Why we are offering?
Okay.
Yes. In the interview,
Yeah, got it.
in the interview, they will ask you a question, and you will not be able to answer. How it's gonna work?
Yeah, got it. So basically, we should be learning all the things, like whatever you are sharing, like through live and through recordable sessions.
The SRE course.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Everything I'm sharing is gonna be help you site reliability engineer, a good one.
Okay, sure. Yeah, got it, Roshan. Yeah, thanks. Understood.
Sure. Anyone else? Last questions? Okay. Anyone has any question from their work? They are struggling on something. Feel free. So guys, I'll be, just to let you know, I'll be taking care of AWS, Azure, and GCP as well. It's not like I'm going to talk care of only AWS. You're going to be equally comfortable with GCP, because when I talk about the Kubernetes, I demonstrate using GKE as well. Along with EKS, we demonstrate with GKE as well. Right? I'm also planning with AKS. I'm demonstrating this because I understand the importance of Kubernetes. So you're going to be, my mindset is simple. If you know one cloud service provider, it's very easy for you to learn others. So that is how I see things, and that's how I want you to also see things. It's simple. Right? So I'll keep talking about any cloud service provider, and you will feel comfortable. So that's what I can assure you. Okay. Okay. Apart from these recorded sessions, guys, Rusav has a question. It is not mandatory, Rusav, if you are covering all the sessions, all the recordings which you are offering. Even if you do not have PE experience before, and with whatever we are offering as part of this course, it's a complete course. Trust me, I have never come across any SRE course which is complete. It's always in bits and pieces. It's never a complete course. This is one complete course. I can proudly say this, right? So even if you're not a PE background, that's why we are giving you, Rusav, to answer your question, that's why we are offering you this Java PE, to help you understand the performance engineering, how Java PE works. In the SRE, again, you can, if you don't have a PE background, you can join as a support engineer. Support engineer, if you are 5 to 6 years of experience support engineer, you can earn 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs rupees. Support engineer can even earn. So no problem with that, right? If you are an SRE engineer, so sky is the limit. If you're good one at it, so sky is the limit, right? For 35, 40, 50 lakhs, anything you can get it. It depends on your strength and how good you are, right? So if that experience you need to have, whatever I mentioned the numbers, if you have 10 plus 12 years experience, you can get it as per your. So we are covering, we are making you to achieve all this. We are offering you all of this because I understand the journey, right? I have been into that journey, right? So that's what we are here to offer, right? All this knowledge that I have accumulated over the years. It's like a very simple for you to take this and make progress in your career, right? That's what I look at things here, right? So Rusab, it's not a mandatory. Whatever we are offering, Java PE, Java, Python, feel free. We have everything for you, even for a non PE experience professionals to become an SRE engineers. You can start with support L1 and you can slowly move to L2. Rusab, I hope I answered your question. Sure, guys. So apart from this, right, recorded sessions, I'll be sharing PPTs like the one which I'm showing you right now. All these are live PPTs. The one I have prepared myself. It will be shared with all of you. Look at this. If you look at the cloud computing part, it will be like 200 slides, all big, the big one. The cloud computing and the Kubernetes are the biggest, 100 plus slides. This is 200 slides. So a lot of information I'm going to share with you. Okay. Linux, container engine, Docker, or Kubernetes, DevOps, right? A lot of things. Then about the SRE, look at this. On the SRE, eliminating toil, performance engineering slides, Java performance engineering, all the knowledge that you require, heap dump, thread dump, all the theoretical aspect, recorded sessions, everything that you need to know, it will be all shared with all of you, right? So that's what one-stop solution, guys, complete course. That's how I see things. Eliminating toil, Ansible, Terraform. We're gonna share everything, right? So that's about all I wanted to share, guys, with this demo. The regular session starts from tomorrow, right? Feel free to attend. It's gonna be free for everyone till this week, and we're gonna close. We're gonna start a new fresh batch with the limited people, those who are getting enrolled from next Monday. So that will be our plan. So thank you so much, guys, for this time, taking our time and attending this demo session. I hope you were able to get some insights about this SRE role, right? So thank you so much, guys. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Roshan.
Sure. Thank you.